Should they have to say that?
Otherwise, you're getting this conversation.
Sure.
Where it's like, what's happening? I don't know. Is it good? I don't know.
I would hope that the general fandom at large would trust them.
You said that out loud.
Come on and visit for any occasion. Don't keep patting down waiting. Comics and conversation. Keep the conversation moving along. Keep reading comics, keep your local store strong. If it's hard, then it's a job for the challengers. Comics and conversation, y'all.
From Challengers Comics and Conversation in Chicago, this is Contest of Challengers. And now, here are Patrick Brower and W. Dal Bush.
Welcome back, Dale.
I really appreciate my new status on the Contest of Challengers podcast as occasional guest, W. Dal Bush. I'm really into that. It fits my schedule way better.
Well, I can already tell you that due to multiple concerts in an upcoming weekend that I have, you'll be out of one again in the next couple weeks. Yeah, but don't worry. Don't worry.
Don't worry. I never worry.
That's true. You'll be there for the recording. You just won't be involved.
Okay. Weird.
And you did notice I said multiple concerts.
I did hear you say that, yes.
Yeah.
Which ones?
Sammy Hagar.
Okay.
On Friday.
And Berlin, that's her name? Is that right? Is it?
That's not. This is just one weekend. This is the first weekend, the first full weekend of June.
Okay.
Which would interfere with our recording because I've got Sammy Hagar on Friday, Superchunk on Sunday, and Superchunk on Monday.
So you're saying is I have June 3rd free now? Is that not June 3rd?
We're talking a week later.
June 7th. I have June 7th free, is what you're saying, because you have a concert that night.
Yes.
Okay. I might make plans then.
Was there a specific thing
There was something that was offered, but I'm like, Fridays aren't great for me because we usually record on Fridays. But if you're saying you've already made plans on that Friday, I will make plans too.
Well, I mean, that plan has always been there.
Sure.
That's the Hagar one.
Sure.
So
I don't keep track of all your concerts.
This is very interesting for comic podcast listeners, but
yes.
Hagar on that Friday, which your plans may need to be a little bit later because you may have to close.
That's fine. It would probably be after work anyway, I think. I don't know. It's hard to tell.
And then Superchunk, and then...
Wait, there's two Superchunks?
Yeah, I just said that before in the previous sentences. Sammy Hagar on Friday, Superchunk on Sunday, and Superchunk on Monday.
So you're saying is I have June 3rd free now. Well, I didn't realize that there was a second Superchunk because we had talked before about the possibility of a second Superchunk, and then I never followed up with you on that.
Yeah, which is surprising to me. You never asked.
I didn't want to press on it because you would be the one having to do the work to get the second night of tickets. So I just assumed that since I didn't hear anything, it didn't happen. And I didn't want to bring it up and be like, hey, did you ever? And then you'd be like, no. Or
see, I wanted to bring it up so I could say, surprise!
Surprise.
Yes.
Two Superchunks.
Now, that is going to cause a conflict with Women's Comics Night for June because it's the same night.
Yeah, but later that night.
Well...
It's like 10 o'clock, right?
Yeah, but we need to leave by 9.
Right, and that's the thing. I'd said before that if that happened, I would just notify them like, hey, you know how we usually say 7 to 9, but 9's kind of a rolling whenever everyone gets out of here. This time it's going to be a hard, 9 o'clock. Gotta go.
Yeah.
I gotta get going. I can't stay later than that. Sorry.
Ironically, the acoustic show was more expensive than the non-acoustic show.
That's because you're getting exclusive songs with the acoustic one. It's all of Foolish. They don't play most of those songs in any format, acoustic or electric.
It's true. And we have actual seats at a table.
Into that, especially if it's 10 to whatever on a Monday night.
Yeah. Well, since they're doing 2 shows that night, I can't imagine they're doing anything more than just Foolish.
I would assume it's just that. And I mean, that means that entirely it's, even if they take breaks between songs to switch out instruments or to banter with the audience, it's 50 minutes maybe.
Okay, so again, we're getting way off topic.
We're getting off of your topic maybe. This is on topic for me.
If you're Superchunk and you're doing the entirety of Foolish, are you doing it in order?
I would think so. That's the point of one of those.
See, you would think that. But is it the point? Because I've been to ones where they do all the songs, but in a different order.
I've only ever heard from a distance
at a Contest of Challengers recording, perhaps at...
Well, I was going to say I've only heard from a distance when Riot Fest was closer to where the recording studio was. I could hear Weezer doing the Blue Album in its entirety as the second half of their set at Riot Fest. And it sounded like they were doing every song in order. You know, first track, second track, third track, and
Yeah,
on from there.
honestly, most bands, when they are doing an album, do it all the way, but not everybody.
Yeah, I would assume that Superchunk is going to do all of Foolish in order.
And then, in an effort to complicate life even further,
Yay.
on Saturday, June 22nd, when we have a Voracious signing with Marcus Anasso and Jason Muir, I have the Lords of Chaos that night in Aurora. And then the next week, when we have Joe Carrillo and Leanna Kangas for She Said Destroy, coming in for an all-day hangout, that night I have Anne Boleyn and House of Blues.
Yep.
So, 5 concerts for June.
Awesome.
That's right.
So cool.
I'm very excited for one of them.
Electric Superchunk.
So yeah, because of that weekend, the recording will be done earlier in the week with a special guest star.
Okay.
But it'll be recorded on a Monday at the store,
Okay.
which is why I said you'll be there.
Okay.
Gotta get these things lined up, you know?
Cool.
When life gets in the way.
Cool.
When suddenly, out of the blue, someone is in Florida.
Who's that?
You make do.
Who was that?
You make do. So I thought we'd spend the first half hour talking about all the comic stores you visited in Sarasota.
I almost visited one in Tampa on the way out. I had a little bit of time while I was driving from Sarasota to the Tampa International Airport, but the schedule just didn't quite line up, and I'd have to go out of my way and go looking for a store, and it just felt like there were too many variables for me to do it. So I unfortunately did not get a chance to visit any shops in Florida. But I was only in Florida for like a day and a half.
I'm assuming while you were in Florida, you still read Knights of the Dinner Table every day.
I only got a chance to read it one late night when I picked up something to eat. Otherwise, I don't think every meal was with somebody, so I didn't really have a chance to, like...
How did that make you feel?
Hungry.
Did the meals feel different as a result?
No, it's fine.
That's fine. That's fine. Well, you took that opportunity to be out of town, and I guess I took an opportunity to be away from the store as well by getting sick this week.
Yeah, you were sick on Wednesday.
Yeah, and it was very sudden Wednesday morning.
It was. I was getting ready for work, and I got a text saying, "Hey, I'm not coming in today," and I went, "Okay."
Trust me, I would have rather have been in.
Sure.
Still recovering. But that's the day, I was going to say that's the day that the comic industry blew up. But in fact, it blew up over the weekend. We just didn't find out about it until
Yeah, and it also blew up
yesterday.
Wednesday. It was one of the few times I've had...
That is Wednesday.
Well, I was going to, like, you said over the weekend.
Well, that's when it technically happened. We didn't learn about it
Okay.
until Wednesday.
Yeah, okay.
So I think we're talking about the same thing.
Probably. It was a thing that multiple people mentioned on Wednesday, and I had to go, I've been working all day, plus I'm not the one who's ever dialed into that stuff. That's a Patrick thing. So, like, the things that people were referencing and mentioning, like, I read one thing, I think, on The Beat.
Okay.
And it was very, like, sources are telling us sort of stuff, rather than there has been an official announcement from the publisher regarding these rumors.
So what we're talking about is Tom King's Batman run is ending 15 issues early.
Yeah, at least 15 issues early.
It's ending at number 85.
It sounded like he was going to go to, like, 104.
Yeah.
Was, I think, because he'd skipped a few issues for crossovers and stuff.
Sure. Okay. So why don't you say the things that you heard?
I think by this point there has been, like, somebody, Ryan Higgins,
Okay.
said that he talked to someone at DC who specifically said, yes, Tom King is ending his Batman run later in 2019.
Well, here, I'll tell you what
Okay.
DC has said.
Sure.
Tom King is ending his Batman run later in 2019. However, he has several other big projects lined up with DC.
Yeah.
This is not ending any relationships. This is just...
Right. He didn't quit the company. He didn't get fired.
Yeah.
This is, like... So, obviously we don't know anything yet.
Right.
No one has officially commented on what is happening or why, beyond
You know who
what
does
you just
know?
said. Who's that?
Mitch Gerads.
Probably.
Mitch Gerads totally knows, and he's very excited.
He tweeted some things that were
Yep.
very cryptic and made people think this was not all a bad thing, like a lot of people were assuming it was. My speculation, just based on kind of how I've seen publishers do things before, is that it sounds like what would have been the concluding part of Tom King's Batman run is maybe now going to be a larger special project featuring the Batman character instead of specific issues of the Batman comic book.
Okay.
A lot of what Tom King had been saying over the last few weeks was that the changes he was going to be making to Batman were very large, and required a lot bigger approval higher up at DC and at Warner Brothers and at AT&T. And my speculation is that basically someone somewhere said, this is too different for the mainline A-list, top-of-the-charts Batman book. It needs to be its own special thing. You know, in the same way that some other Batman projects have become larger things. Like, Dark Knight's Metal is very much a Batman project, but it was not ever it was not All-Star Batman.
Right.
It needed to be its own thing because it was such a big deal and was doing such weird things that it needed to be its own kind of spotlighty project.
I mean, there was a time when Batman Last Night on Earth could have been just in the pages of the regular book.
Sure.
But that was a long time ago and not how the industry works anymore. And quite frankly, I think it's better for us that it isn't.
For sure. I mean, DC special projects do way better for us than DC ongoing series and miniseries.
Yeah, if Batman Last Night on Earth, which comes out this week, was just part 1 in Batman number, I don't know, we're on 72.
Sure.
We wouldn't order as much as we did.
Yeah, and I'm sure there's people who have not been enjoying Tom King's Batman run or dislike Tom King for other non-Batman writing reasons that are celebrating this. I don't think he was fired. I don't think this is any reflection on the sales of the book or his take on the character. For one thing, the version of the character that he's doing currently in Batman has not changed substantially in the few years that he's been doing the book. If DC was getting cold feet about the way that he was doing the character, issue 72 would not be the point where they would get cold feet. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I think they have a pretty clear idea of what he does, how he works, the stories he's telling. I don't believe he's being pushed out for that reason. Similarly, while the sales maybe have dipped a bit from its high points, it's still the best-selling ongoing series DC has. By a lot.
Yes, but now Immortal Hulk is beating it.
It's the best-selling ongoing series DC has by a lot. So, if you were going to be replacing Tom King because Batman is not selling as well as it used to, or it's being outsold by other Marvel books, you would literally be replacing every other ongoing DC writer. Every single one. Down the chart from Batman because Batman's at the top. So I don't think it's because of sales. Not least of which because if that were the case, you'd probably stop working with Tom King altogether. So the idea of, like, Tom King has a bunch more projects, no duh he does. Mr. Miracle won a bunch of Eisner Awards. And you'll sell graphic novels of Mr. Miracle forever. Like, he's a proven sellable writer. So yeah, this to me smacks more of the book you're doing is so weird it kind of can't be in the monthly or twice monthly Batman comic anymore. That has to be something that's a little bit more on brand. Everyone can pick it up. It has to represent the character in a way that the story you're doing kind of has changed and evolved beyond that. Like, that's how I would think this is going. I could be completely wrong. I don't know anything.
Right, but if it's a story that does change the core of the character and something that's never been done before like that, do you think that's harder to do when it's on its own miniseries? Like, how does that change get reflected in the regular book?
It doesn't.
Then it's not changing the character.
No. But it gets to end Tom King's story.
Yeah. Yeah,
the idea of, like, this changes Batman for a generation, like, I don't know what Tom King's planning. I don't know if it's still going to happen. I don't know if it's going to happen in the way he intended. But that sort of stuff, like, it doesn't. It doesn't change characters for generations. Especially, like, transmedia icons like Batman. Like, no. It just doesn't. Every time you try stuff like that, literally the only thing I can think of in the last 30 to 40 years, two things. I can point to two things and go, yep, those definitely changed the character. Killing Jason Todd as Robin, even though technically he came back, so I don't know how much that matters. And Damian as Batman. Or Damian as Robin. Like, those are the two things. Even Tim Drake,
You don't think...
That technically didn't last, in that he's not a Robin anymore, he's going to get a new name.
You don't think that Dark Knight changed the character?
I mean, it didn't change the character. It offered, like, there's good stories, there's classic stories that are in there, but don't you
change
think that the character? Nothing changed the character.
I mean, don't you think that the level of darkness that Dark Knight had got reflected immediately back onto the main book?
Yeah, but that wasn't a change for a generation. Like, things went, if you look at 10 years beyond Dark Knight, you take a look at like that Batman issue that showed up in like 1994 and take a look at one from 1974, they're not 100% different. There's not huge shifts in how the story was told. I mean, what Denny O'Neil was doing and then what a Denny O'Neil edited book was doing, these are not night and day things.
This is a legitimate question, not nitpicking.
Sure.
What book from 1984?
Just anyone. Pick a Batman comic.
Oh, okay.
Like, just literally, like, take a
Dark Knight
Batman comic off the
was
stand.
86.
Right, so I'm saying, like, you look at, like, 10 years on. You look at the mid-90s.
Yeah.
By that point, whatever impact Dark Knight had in, like, how it shifted the story had already kind of worn off.
I disagree. I think that it became the status quo.
No, Batman stories are Batman stories. I mean, you can look at little...
And him fighting mummies from outer space.
Yeah, you can look at blips in it, sure. I mean, look at those decade covers that they did for Dark Knight 1000. Once you get past, like, the 1950s, where everything is very, like, cowboys and Indians or space aliens, everything after that, they all kind of look the same. It's all Batman. He's standing on a rooftop. He's swinging through Gotham.
You're saying that change is only change if the following creators let it be, because Tom King changed the Vision character, but in the things that he's been done with after the fact, I'm
saying
Vision.
For a lot of these characters, especially nowadays with movies and TV shows and more kind of corporate oversight, there's an elasticity to these characters. You can shift them. They're malleable. You can kind of move them towards one degree or another.
You can show their penis.
But like elasticity, eventually it returns to its natural state. You can only hold it for so long before it snaps back into being what it was before.
Yes, but elasticity breaks down over time and is no longer as tight as it used to be.
I mean, that's a much larger metaphor for kind of superhero characters at Marvel and DC, but yes, sure. But in general, like, the idea of I am changing Batman for a generation, like, a generation, no. A few years? Sure. That's what's really fun about some of these characters, is that you can, change things up for a little bit. But, I mean, not to talk about a different Tom King comic, but you look at Wally West in Heroes in Crisis, and that's a character who's mourning a very specific window of his continuity that hasn't existed in, 7-8 years?
Yeah.
That's probably not, maybe coming back. I hope it's coming back. That'd be great for Wally West. I don't know if he's earned that at this point, but maybe. So yeah, I don't think that doing the end of Tom King's run in a separate book would have nearly the impact it would in the regular Batman comic, but hopefully there's a reason why it's happening. Hopefully everyone creatively is going to be happy with how it turns out when it eventually sees print.
So, you are DC Comics, and
oh no,
over the weekend,
oh no,
over the weekend,
I don't want this.
You've just come to the decision to have Tom King off of Batman. Sure. Obviously, it just happened.
Yeah, the smart thing you do is you don't make a public announcement about it, so you let the rumor mill run rampant once Bleeding Cool gets a hold of it. That's the smart thing to do.
Well, which is what's been happening.
Yep.
But the DC had have a comment, which is what I'd said before. But
they should have a better comment.
Well, don't you think that they're waiting until they have their future plans in place? Like, they're not just going to say, hey, Tom King is out, but we don't know who's coming up. Just bear with us.
They should say something. Like, I don't think it's acceptable
they
for
kind
them
of did.
To say nothing. No, things have trickled out.
No, on the DC message boards, they have.
Sure, but they have not, that I've seen on other websites, they have not made a public statement where their editors get out in front of this and go, hey, we know you're freaking out. We're big fans of Tom King. There's reasons we're doing this. We love the Batman character. We love what Tom King's doing with it. Tom King's got a lot of great projects coming out. We guarantee in a few weeks, when we show you what we've got planned, you will be excited about it. This will all work out for everyone, we promise. And you need Tom King to boost that. Otherwise...
Should they have to say that?
Otherwise, you're getting this conversation.
Sure.
Where it's like, what's happening? I don't know. Is it good? I don't know.
I would hope that the general fandom at large would trust them.
You said that out loud. Yes.
I said hope, not expect.
The fandom will trust DC comic books when it comes to something about Tom King. Yes. That's exactly what's going to happen.
Well, my question...
You're adorable. I missed this.
Was, who do you replace him with?
See, that's the thing. I don't know. One of the things that I didn't necessarily think it was going to happen, or I didn't I didn't think it was a real thing. Because even if you say, okay, the sales aren't great and we need to boost them up, so we got to get rid of Tom King, which I don't think is true, but even if you allow for that argument, there's literally no one that company has who is as reliable a sales mover as Tom King.
Certainly not for us.
In general.
But I'm opening this to, as a store owner who would be ordering this, who would get you to order more?
There's nobody they have at that company that I can think of that we would order more. But here's the thing, like...
It doesn't have to be at that company.
Well, I was going to say, like, the other thing to kind of think about is that the sales floor for Batman is very, very high. Like, I could write and draw Batman, and that book's going to sell at least 75,000 copies per issue. So, anybody else, you want to see it higher than that, you'd love to see it...
I don't know that it would stay at that.
Sure it would. It's Batman. It's a Batman. It's the Batman comic book. It's always going to sell at least 75,000 copies. You want it to be over 100,000 copies. Absolutely. It deserves to be well over that. It should be doing multiples of that because Batman's one of the most popular superhero characters in the world. And one of the most recognizable.
Before you go any further, so you're saying that no matter who they put on it,
yeah, it doesn't matter.
Sales in our store are not going to drop.
No, they could drop a bit, but they're not. I don't think they're going to drop a ton. Like, I think that book right now we're selling of the A cover 80 to 85 copies, something like that.
80,
yeah,
or less.
80 or less. I mean, we've previously sold close to 100 copies.
Yeah,
it fluctuates. I don't think we'd see it drop below 70.
Really?
Yeah, mostly because while I say that I could write and draw it, I think they would aim higher than my caliber of comic book writing and drawing. So I think there will be a creative team that will be, if not, all-star caliber, then will be strong enough. Like, it'll be fine.
I can show you in the last 2 years where we were ordering in the high 60s for the A cover.
I think that where our customer base is at right now, I don't see it dropping that much.
Okay.
I mean, I could be wrong. I don't want to be wrong. I don't want it to be selling 45 copies per issue of Batman. That would suck.
I would imagine at this point they would have already been thinking about what to do in a year's time.
Sure.
Like, already having conversations with people.
Yeah, I mean, if they keep to twice monthly schedule, you were talking about, in late 2020 needing a new creative team. Right. So yeah, there must have already been discussions about what the future of that book looks like after Tom King's done.
I mean,
who would you put on it? Like, who do you think is available? That this is reasonable?
I think, first of all, I think anybody would clear their schedule for it.
But I mean, there's people who have longer term heavy schedules at other companies.
Yeah,
like Jason Aaron is not going to jump at Batman. Jason Aaron's got a lot on his plate.
Right.
Donny Cates is a guy who I think is exclusive to Marvel. He's not a guy that is going to be able to get out of his contract tomorrow to take up Batman.
I had not thought of Jason Aaron on Batman. That could be great.
Yeah, I mean, there's a bunch of people I'd love to see on that character at some point. I think Batman's one of, the top three, not bucket list, but I think a lot of creators would love to tell at least a Batman story at some point in their career.
What about somebody who is just finished telling a Batman story?
Who just finished telling a Batman story?
Well, just finished in a different format than we've ever seen yet.
I don't know who you're talking
Brian
about.
Michael Bendis.
I mean, maybe. I don't think that would help sales at all, frankly.
I'm just trying to keep sales where they are.
Yeah, I don't...
Like, if you tell me if they put Peter Tomasi in that book, who is a great writer...
He's great.
That book is not going to lose sales, I don't believe you. Because look at Detective.
I don't think it would lose that many sales. And Detective, I think it's probably up from where it was a little while ago. But Detective is always the B book. It's always the B title.
Right, but my point is, what if he was doing that exact Arkham Knight story in the pages of Batman?
It would be selling more. Because it's Batman. Like, that's the thing that I don't know that I'm making 100% clear.
No, you're making clear, I don't believe it.
It literally saying Batman on the cover means it sells a certain amount. Like, I'm not saying it doesn't matter what's on the inside. I'm saying what's on the inside does not have nearly as much impact as the fact that it says Batman and just Batman on the front cover.
Yeah, certainly when you put "and the Outsiders" after it.
You put anything after it. You put a colon and you put something else after that, it's going to sell a fraction of what it just sold.
So you're saying Matt Fraction. Interesting.
I was waiting to get to that. But yes, Matt Fraction, I don't think he's going to do Batman. Maybe.
No, I don't think so.
But I don't think so.
I think it's too restrictive for what he would want to do. I don't know. I'm just guessing.
Yeah, the trajectory of his career does not seem to be at a point where he's like, yeah, I want to do the mainline Batman comic book for DC. Like, one of the other things is that with doing that Batman comic comes a lot of responsibilities to be kind of a brand steward. Like, you have to be doing things that, are big events that can be something that can be an umbrella for other titles and other concepts and other stories. And somebody who I would love to see what they would do, a special project is more what their speed is now, not being the editorial
you just said,
guy.
Tom King didn't have to do any of that.
But he did.
Anytime there was a major DC crossover, he bowed out.
Right, but he created things that they could do other stuff with. The Batman wedding thing created a whole bunch of additional comics and an entire summer's promotion.
But I mean, that's...
The Button was a big thing that was something that he ended up only writing 1 1/3 issues of, but it was still something that spun out of Batman.
Editorial could make anything spin out of anything if they wanted. He doesn't have to be responsible for that.
And then things on Nightwing, like Nightwing was completely reconceptualized to include what he had done with the character in a Batman storyline. So you can look at the last 2 years of stuff and go, these are things that because he did them, it set up these other stories.
Sure, I thought you meant he was setting up the major summer event crossovers.
No, but although technically, yeah, I mean, they've been heavily promoting so far City of Bane as a big thing that not only was in the 25-cent comic, but it'll have a Secret Files issue that'll also, be a large event they can promote for the summer. And that's a responsibility of a writer like that, is not just tell a story, but create things that we can promote. Not just a 3-issue Mr. Freeze story, but what is going to increase awareness of this character and this concept and this title for a 3-month period this year? What's your plan for Q4? That kind of thing.
But that 3-issue Mr. Freeze story was pretty great.
It was great, but that's not the sort of thing you can promote. City of Bane is a thing you can promote. And City of Bane will probably get, a percentage more people to be reading that book. And that's... I don't know who DC has right now that's anywhere near the level of fan interest that Tom King has. So I don't know who you put on that book that's not going to feel like a stopgap thing. I'd love to see what they're going to do with it. I'd love to see it.
Well, a while ago, I was praising DC for trying to get bigger names on their core characters with Kelly Sue on Aquaman, with Peter Tomasi on Detective, with G. Willow Wilson on Wonder Woman, with Grant Morrison on Green Lantern. Mm-hmm. And mostly those aren't doing great.
Yeah, Grant Morrison's Green Lantern, I think, is the one that for us has done the best of that bunch.
Yeah, definitely, but it's fallen down from, it's 10 issues off of what it was when the first couple issues started, and it's not that far into it.
Because that's still way above what we were selling for the Robert Venditti stuff.
Yeah, but man...
It's just Aquaman is back to the point where it's basically subscriber only.
Yeah.
No one cares.
I mean...
Should have given it a new number 1. I still think that was a huge mistake.
But you also have to admit that story was pretty...
I didn't dig it.
Non-Aquaman friendly.
It was fine. I got a couple issues in and I didn't care a whole lot. But I've mentioned on this podcast before how much I don't care about Aquaman as a character and Undersea Kingdoms as stories. And it's just stuff that I'm never going to be 100% interested in.
Do you still read Wonder Woman?
I don't. That was one that I really wanted to like. And after 3 issues, it was not clicking for me. There's a few titles like that where it's a year ago I might have said any of those names as people that could take over Batman. Well, not Grant Morrison. He had a huge run already.
Right.
But now it's I don't know if that would make sales go up because I don't... one of the Kelly Sue problems is that I think her fans are very much Bitch Planet fans and they are just not interested in her superhero work.
Yeah, we
just
about
don't
this
care.
Before.
So if she was doing something like Bitch Planet or Pretty Deadly, yeah, absolutely. If she does Aquaman or... We'll wait and see on this Wonder Woman project. That could be more in line with something like Pretty Deadly. That could get a lot more of her fans interested. But Aquaman, they did not care.
And even trying to give Martian Manhunter a series.
Sure.
Started out
okay.
Started out really strong. Now
Yeah.
Less than half of what it was doing.
Yeah, 12 issues for that I think was maybe overconfident. I think they should maybe 6 issues at the most for a miniseries. If it does well, maybe do a follow-up 6-issue miniseries.
Speaking of that, unpacking Freedom Fighters number 6 this week and going, we're only halfway done.
Yeah, really? There's a few that they've released where our sales have been so poor that I'm like, there's no way this goes to 12 issues. But then sure enough, Raven number 12 comes out, and I'm like,
gonna say Raven as well.
I guess they did it. Yeah, boy, I would love to have been a fly on the wall during the Tom King Batman DC conversations, because this all feels like a bit of a fiasco. Yeah, I'm sure this was not supposed to get out this way, but you gotta assume it's going to, especially something on this scale. Somebody who knows that in DC is going to be like, I gotta tell people about this because this is nuts. And then it's just going to be, you can't put that genie back in the bottle.
Last weekend was also the Diamond Summit.
Yeah.
The Diamond Comic Distributors Retailer Summit.
In Las Vegas,
Nevada. And you were not there.
No, I was on a completely different part of the country.
And I, of course, was not there either. And you had asked me when you came back. Mm-hmm. So what was the general feeling? What's
the tone from retailers?
What is the tone?
You put a bunch of retailers in a room like that, I always kind of wonder, like, are they optimistic? Because we've heard when retailers have gone to publisher events or industry events, distributor, trade associations, sometimes, it's very like, oh my God, we're so excited. The things that we've heard, we're so excited about where the industry's going, what it's going to look like in a year. Conversely, we've heard, oh my God, no one has any answers. This is a total nightmare. It's going to be real bad for people for the next 12 months.
Well, I didn't hear anything either way, really. All I got was information on what the publishers were saying at their presentations. Mm-hmm. I don't have any information about the individual retailer breakdowns or conversations had after the fact. And I'll be honest, I didn't go looking for a lot.
Okay.
Like I sent you some of the DC stuff, and there was stuff like that from every publisher, except for Marvel, of course, mm-hmm. that was represented. But it was all just, most of it wasn't anything fancy. Like some publishers just, here's what we have coming up. Here's some solicitations.
We're just reading out what's going to be the next previews. Yeah.
and a lot of it was like, hey, here's what we're doing to help. A lot of it was the song and dance of retailers are our most important client, and more and more companies are starting some level of returnability.
Sure.
At certain levels or doing things, and everybody had a presentation like that, and that stuff crossed my desk is the phrase I was going to use, but it's not like it was sent to me specifically. Like interns came running in with ticker tape saying,
Parker!
Here's the latest. Here's the latest. But nothing. The only thing I thought was worth sending you is what I sent you.
Yeah.
And I had heard that some retailers felt it was half as valuable for twice the price of different.
And that's unfortunate.
Yeah. But those people already had the experience of going to one of that. Like they got their positivity out of that previous meeting, not this one.
Yeah.
I just feel bad for people that just went to this one, which I guess is bigger.
We did a year where we did Comics Pro first and then we did Diamond second, and I think I felt more or less the same way. But the thing is, I don't know if that's necessarily because Comics Pro was more valuable on its own, so much as...
It was first?
Yeah, it's so much of the second one is just the same one that just happened, but slightly different, that you feel like none of this is... Like, I just heard all this. Like, yeah, but if you only went to the second one, you'd probably feel like it was great, because you didn't go to the first one. So this is all new to you.
Yeah, there were definitely people that recycled their speeches from Comics Pro.
Yeah, it's hard not to.
Which is fine. Like, why would you have to... Yeah.
It's like not even 3 months later. Like, it's very difficult to have completely new things to say when the market has not changed substantially in the last 3 months.
I imagine a lot of it was, how was your free comic book day? And things like that.
Yeah.
There was a store tour, which sounds like it would have been fun.
Sure, those are always neat.
Yeah. But we get those, kind of, with the Diamond store visits. So I don't have any... There's no major revelations, but there's also no level of we're going in the right direction. Everything is great. You missed this from last week's episode where I talked about how, and I gave you a quick recap earlier in the week, how doing the orders for July was the worst ordering experience yet.
Oh man, I was looking over the Marvel stuff for August, and you're not going to like it any better.
I'm not. I'm really
You're
not.
really not.
It's insane.
A lot of stuff.
All of the...
don't worry, that Marvel Comics 1000, I think, only has 23 variant covers. And yes, they are doing decade covers.
Of course.
Of course.
Yeah, I don't see it being the big deal they want it to be.
No.
I had a customer text and say, hey, what is that Mark Waid, John Cassaday thing that they announced in one of these books? And can I order it yet? I'm like, yeah, it's one page.
You're paying $10.
It's one page in this book. No reply. So that's in August for sure?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, the August stuff, the main things are Absolute Carnage starts. Because July was with the 1 month break between
that was
events.
that was the big Marvel thing.
Issues 1 and 2 of the 4-issue Absolute Carnage series come out in August.
And all the tie-in things. Why would you have a Miles Morales tie-in miniseries written by the guy who's currently writing Miles Morales?
Yeah. That way I don't have to read Carnage in the Miles Morales comic. And I can keep reading Spider-Man Miles Morales and enjoying it, and just skip the Carnage miniseries. Absolute Carnage #1 is $8.
Oh, God.
Yeah, a bunch of miniseries and one-shots. More kind of just like Marvel 80th anniversary sort of things, where it's just like, here's the Marvel Monsters one-shot.
Yeah,
there you go.
We're
that's a thing. And so on and so forth.
Those are easy to ignore.
But you say that, but I know you get to that point in the catalog and you're like, what am I supposed to do for this Wolverine Blade thing? Why does this exist? What about this Wolverine Captain America thing? I don't know what this is either.
Those are almost exact quotes.
I
don't know if it'd be valuable or I don't know how I would pull it off. Of just, you know how...
Live streaming?
Some stores record their process when they're, like, chain stores or multiple ordering people have a round table about it. But
where they talk about that month's previous catalog.
It would just be a half hour of me turning pages, just going, ugh.
I think it should just be live streaming, like on Twitch or something. You doing the previous catalog, like you doing the actual catalog order form on Comic Suite. Like you don't, but the camera's just on you, not a screenshot. So it's just you going, ugh.
If people want to watch 2 hours of me just weeping on camera, I mean, you gotta have...
I think it could be valuable.
You gotta have similar feelings when you're doing the FOCs. What was that FOC email today?
I think it was supposed to be non-Premier Publisher stuff that's on FOCs.
But they said the orders were due tonight.
They misformatted it, so I just...
Definitely I did too, but it specifically said, these are the orders that are due tonight.
Because there's stuff that is not, I guess maybe not FOCs, not final order cutoffs, but order increase cutoffs.
Okay, well, this is the day, or I guess like tomorrow. Now it's like now.
Tomorrow's when the catalog.
4 a.m. tomorrow or whatever it is. 6 a.m. 4 a.m.
I thought it's not today.
It's
anymore.
Tonight, tomorrow morning. I don't know. Like I think they bumped the time.
All right.
By a couple hours.
Well,
putting it into
we
the next
posted
day.
ours last night, so we're fine.
Yep. I saw that. At least that got done.
Yeah.
I can ignore that for a few weeks. Although, honest to God, one of these times, I feel like I'm just going to do it immediately. Because it doesn't matter.
I don't know. I think we definitely need a few weeks of kind of drumming up orders. That helps a little bit. Sometimes there's surprises where a book that we weren't necessarily excited about, we get a lot of customer requests for, and then we're like, well, there's something here.
Yes, but that's what FOCs are for.
Yeah, but I never want to be one of those stores that depends on FOCs to get our numbers right. Like, tweaking them? Sure, but like coming up with them? No thanks.
So you'd rather just be a store that never gets them right?
Well, no store gets them right. But I don't... There's stores that will just put in basically like subscriber-only numbers.
No, I know. And I don't mean that. I mean, like, legitimately ordering it, but just 3 weeks earlier than normal.
Just coming up with numbers off the top of your head?
That's what I do.
You don't look in any way at the subscriber numbers and use
My
that?
point is there's so few subscriber numbers. I mean, unless it's a book that has, Captain America. We have subscribers for that. I mean, the new books,
Right.
the level of subscribers on a new project don't matter because that number will be completely different when the book comes out.
But is there no change in your calculation if you see 3 people down for it versus 8? Or do you just look at the raw quality of the book and go, I know that number is going to go to here by the time it comes out, so this is what I'm going to order?
Yeah, basically that one.
Okay.
I mean, 3 to 8 is honestly a huge difference for
Yeah.
us.
That's why I picked those numbers.
But it's not going to make me blink unless it's like 20.
Okay.
If we have 20 of something, and I'll be like, oh my god, really? Because that doesn't happen.
Sure.
And like 1, 2, or 3, we could get 3 orders for anything.
Yeah, we do. Yeah.
There are books that, and admittedly, I'll grant you this: if we have 3 orders for a book I wasn't going to order, then I'll take a second look at it.
Okay.
Or if we have 3 orders for a graphic novel that I hadn't circled in the first pass,
Sure.
and those aren't the same 3 people that we're both thinking of.
Just 3 employees.
No, not entirely. One employee, 2 club members. Unfortunately, those 3 people don't make me order a book for a shelf
Okay.
because their tastes are very niche.
Sure.
But when 2 of them are on one book, maybe I'll look at it. But the 3 of them are never on one book, from what
Sure.
I'm thinking. I will tell you that there is a book that, in the last previews, that I had not circled, and an employee had ordered it, and it made me double check it and realize, oh, this is one I should have circled anyway. Oh, this creator is local. Let me reach out to them. Oh, they are interested in doing something. So we'll have an announcement for either probably a first week of August event with somebody coming up.
Cool.
That it'll be a smaller thing from a creator. I think this is their first major work.
Neat.
So much so that they are being published by a publisher who frequently has their books out before Diamond has them. But this project is not yet on their website because I double checked it. And oh my god, anybody? No, I shouldn't call it out, but totally doing a space for bingo on this one.
Okay.
You can connect the dots on your own. So anyway, yes.
Mitchell Davies.
I mean, that was already a square. Sure.
He's not local.
Sure.
Wait, is he?
I have told Mitchell that anytime you're unavailable, I would just go to him from now on because he's like the official co-host.
That's fine. I can be unavailable a lot more often if Mitchell would like. That is very easy for me to do.
Mitchell has to get into work hours earlier to do this.
Maybe he wants it more than I do. It definitely sounds like it.
I mean, it definitely sounds like it. So you'll be back in 4 weeks?
He can be the to-be-named replacement to my Tom King. That's fine.
That's fine.
That's fine.
How was work Wednesday by yourself?
Fine, because it was an incredibly slow day, so if there's got to be a day that I'm there by myself, I guess it's best, in quotes, that it was a day that nobody came in.
It is such a weird, stacked week, this upcoming week, the 5th
May
Wednesday
29th,
of May, because DC has Heroes in Crisis, and Batman Last Night on Earth, and
Doomsday Clock,
and Superman Leviathan Rising.
Yep. And a Detective Comics annual.
Yeah, and a Catwoman annual, and
Dog Days of Summer.
yeah. But just so many, like, Heroes in Crisis, Doomsday Clock, those are big books by themselves.
Yeah.
Then you add in Leviathan Rising, which is a $10 book.
Yep.
And then you add in Last Night on Earth, which I think should be the biggest seller of the week.
Doomsday Clock will probably still sell more.
Yeah, okay.
More people down for it.
Yeah, but I expect the numbers for Last Night on Earth to be much higher by the end of next week.
We'll see. We didn't order as much of that as we did a Doomsday Clock, so I
Really?
hope it doesn't go up that much higher.
Oh, okay. It's just an annoyingly stacked week when...
It is, yeah. The last 2 weeks, May 15th and May 22nd, were both weeks where it did not feel like any comics came out. And May 15th we actually did okay, but I think that was deceptive because it ended up being people who hadn't come in for a few weeks. May 22nd we kind of got killed on because the people who came in, there was basically nothing new for them to buy. And there's a few people who just decided, hey, I only got 1 or 2 books in this week. I'll just come in next week. So May 29th,
Which I totally understand.
Yeah, May 29th, not only with a lot of new stuff, but also with people who have not come in a week or so. It should make for a good week, but yeah, of a 5-week month, May 22nd definitely seemed like the week where we just got killed. We did not have a lot of people coming in, and the people who came in didn't have anything to buy. That is not a good situation for us to be in.
It's also been, for the last month, our Thursdays have been pretty bad.
Yeah, which is weird, because this Thursday is beautiful out, and it does not seem like a lot of people are going out shopping.
Nope. So yeah, today is a Thursday that we're recording this, and it is the same as the last couple weeks.
Yeah.
And Saturdays have been okay. Mm-hmm. Sundays are meh. But Fridays are a roller coaster. Some Fridays are phenomenal. Some Fridays are Thursday bad.
Yeah.
It's hard to predict anymore.
For sure.
I don't like it.
No. Unpredictable businesses are not fun.
Don't like it at all. Dal, were you happy with the season finales of all the DC shows?
I think so. There wasn't anything I was particularly mad at. Yourself?
Well, can't wait for Arrow to be over, because it's terrible.
So does that mean you will not be watching Batwoman when it starts on Sundays?
Wait, why, you think it's supposed to be as terrible as Arrow?
It seems like it's kind of thematically a replacement show for Arrow. It feels very similar to Arrow.
I mean, I'll start with it, but I can't say I'll keep up with it. Like, sure. I didn't watch Supergirl this year, but you said Supergirl's great.
Yeah, I thought it was one of their strongest seasons, for sure.
Was it 3rd? 4th?
This was its 4th.
4th, wow. Okay.
Yeah, all these shows, it's so weird to think of. They seem fairly new in my brain.
Yeah.
But, like, Flash just finished its 5th season. Supergirl just finished their 4th. Arrow's going into its 8th, I think.
Yeah.
It's crazy to me. I was working on the back issues in the store, and I saw the back of one of them was an ad for the then-to-be-released Arrow Season 2. It's like, God, look at all this. Look at how young they were.
That's when he just got the mask, right? Because the first season was all makeup.
Yeah, I mean, the ad on the back was still just him without the mask on, and it was more islandy sort of stuff, because the flashbacks were still him on the island. That was the Deathstroke season. That was what would turn out to be the Black Canary season. So the people who are on the ad are just Oliver Queen in the center, and then Felicity and Diggle and Deathstroke, and I can't remember a couple other people.
Thea, maybe?
Maybe Thea and Roy, I can't remember.
Yeah, I thought Legends of Tomorrow is still the most fun show.
Oh, easily, yeah.
And they know it.
They do, yeah. There's shows like Supergirl and Legends of Tomorrow where I don't think they need to tweak a lot to have a good next season. Supergirl, I'd love to see them do less of the DEO, which it feels like they very easily could just do an off season. Like, no one works for there anymore. We all just fight crime, and it's fine now. Like they set themselves up different storytelling avenues where they don't need that organization to drive the story anymore. They've evolved beyond that. And Legends of Tomorrow, yeah, you could pretty much just plug in any threat, and those characters and that writing team and that production team could make something really fun out of it. Like the fact that they could toss Vandal Savage into the season finale and have it be the best version of Vandal Savage they've ever done on any of those shows proves to me that, like, I don't have to worry about that show next year. Flash is the one where it's like, you have so much talent on this, and there's so many times that you've got really interesting stories or ideas that the execution frequently is like, how did you not think this through? Like, when I look at the things that worked in the last season of Flash, there's so many positives that it's hard for me to remember. Most of those episodes I got real mad watching. Like, it did not work out the way that my brain thinks it worked out. And Arrow, you're ready for Arrow to be over. I'm very excited to see what they do with the story ideas they had in the finale of the season of Arrow.
Yeah, but
I've thought that before and been let down. So
you can be very excited for that, but within 5 minutes of the first episode of the next season, you can be like, oh, pass.
Yeah, that's my fear, is that what I think is a very broad palette that they have available to them for the final season of Arrow is maybe going to be less broad than I want it to be, and more, hey, let's do all the same things we've been doing the last few years that Dal hasn't liked. Like, that could be the version where I don't enjoy the last 10 episodes or whatever of Arrow. Yeah, I'm very curious to see what the producers have to say when San Diego rolls around, because that's usually when they start talking about cast additions and new characters that we're going to see.
And at that point, they've either filmed the first episode or at least on the table read for the first episodes.
We will sometimes get a little sizzle reel of like, here's what's going to happen in the premiere. I wouldn't expect to see anything necessarily for Crisis on Infinite Earths, but I'd love to see them kind of give me an idea of like, what is the next season of Flash going to look like? Because I want that show to be its best version of itself, and I don't think I've seen that yet in 5 seasons.
Nope. But what show is the best version of itself, unfortunately it's not a superhero show, is Barry.
I haven't watched the finale of Barry yet.
Barry is so great.
Did you watch the finale?
I did, yeah.
Okay.
I did. You're going to love it. And also I can tell you that...
They wear their costumes.
It was filmed around Thanksgiving.
Okay, neat.
That just gives you an idea of where,
cool.
at what point in time.
Yeah, Barry's one that I loved the first season, but like a lot of fans had some trepidation about what does a second season of this show look like, because it felt like it definitively ended the story it was telling, and then they had a great idea for what a second season of that show looks like. So I'm on board.
Well, I can tell you this because I'm in the middle of a long, an hour and a half interview with Bill Hader.
Mm-hmm.
And
is he the next co-host for the next episode of Contest of Challengers? Is that what you're telling me? Is he going to be at the store on that Monday?
The premise of the show Barry is a hitman who becomes an actor and then blank.
Right.
They haven't gotten to blank yet.
That's cool.
So there's plans.
Yeah, one of the most interesting things about it is the way that they use the kind of acting stuff as a way for him to dig out things in himself that he's ignored. Like that you could just do that and it would be a compelling show, but there's so much going on around it that it's, I don't want to say overstuffed, but it's a show that has so much in an episode that I kind of can't believe that they're juggling it as well as they are.
Yeah, well, we come from an industry that is famous for decompressed storytelling.
Yeah.
That is not this.
No, it's great.
Anyway, that is not comic book related.
Yeah.
Hey, Dal.
Bill Hader's a comics fan, isn't he?
Yeah, he co-wrote a Spider-Man one-shot.
Who do you write that with?
Seth Meyers.
Oh, okay.
The short Halloween.
Oh, yeah. Not a fan.
You had... the last thing I was going to say is something you've mentioned before.
Uh-huh.
You were working on the back issues.
I was, yeah. I have been working on the back issues.
What's your plan?
Well, one of the main things is that the 99-cent back issues that we have not gotten as much love as they probably need.
You mean from the store itself,
yes.
not from customers?
No, they've maybe gotten too much love from the customers, so they are in kind of terrible shape, and that a lot of stuff is disorganized, or boxes are too full, or not full enough. Comics are out of order, things aren't alphabetized correctly. It's difficult to find stuff. If you're just digging through every box, you'll do fine. But if you go in saying, hey, I want, Ant-Man issues, well, that they might be in any box, because people will just grab a handful of stuff sometimes, decide they don't want it, and then just shove it in another box.
Well, recently, actually last summer, we had a bunch of stuff we were working on in the back hallway that very recently got put into the red file cabinets that became new back issues where there was no real order.
Yeah, they weren't being alphabetized, they were just put in there.
Also, I'm worried about how we can ever fix those cabinets because all the paint's chipping off and they look bad.
Yeah.
And there's no way to do it.
I don't know that stuff well enough. That's definitely your purview. So
well,
you'll have
because
to tell me.
They're built together. Like those things don't ever move now.
Right.
Unless we spray paint them there, which is not a good idea.
It's not a great idea.
Anyway.
So yeah, I'm re-alphabetizing all the back issues. I'm about halfway through. Simultaneously, I am thinning out some stuff. Some of the boxes were very full because there's books that have been in there unsold for the last 9 years. And it was time for some of that stuff to get pruned out so people can find stuff a little easier and those boxes can have a little bit more room to grow. So yeah, halfway through that, and then eventually all of the 99-cent back issues that are in the red filing cabinets will get filed into the white boxes. So all of that stuff will be in order again. And then we'll put other stuff in the red filing cabinets, and we'll see what happens.
So the red filing cabinets will no longer be 99-cent back issues?
Correct. There'll be other stuff.
That has to be...
It'll be the $5 graphic novels. It'll be some other things that we'll talk about.
We'll have to make bigger signs than the signs they have now, so people don't just glance over what they were.
Yeah. We'll make different signs for sure, but that'll be at least a few weeks out. It takes me, depending on how much time I can get in a given day to work on it, it's probably going to be at least another couple weeks before I finish the back issues. Just the white boxes, that organization stuff. Then it'll take more time to file in all the stuff that's in the red filing cabinets, and then more time to put stuff into the red filing cabinets. So it's basically like a task that I wouldn't expect to be completely done until closer to the end of the summer. But It's an ongoing project.
Gotcha.
Hopefully the people who are looking through the back issues, at least through the letter J, are finding stuff easier than they did before. So here's one other news thing that I don't know if you saw.
Oh, okay.
That just got announced weirdly through a full creative team interview on the AV Club. Unbeatable Squirrel Girl is wrapping up.
Oh, really?
Issue 50 will be the final issue of Unbeatable Squirrel Girl.
Interesting.
And then we'll see the exit of the entire creative team of Ryan North and Derek Charm and Rico Renzi and everybody else who's currently working on the book. Cover artist Erica Henderson. There was a kind of cryptic mention that at some point in the near future, when that series concludes, there will be a gap and then there will probably be a new Squirrel Girl project of some sort. But this is that creative team which will have done 58 issues and a graphic novel will be done.
Interesting. Well, you heard the new Gwenpool series announcement today.
I did. Leah Williams and David Baldeon are doing a Gwenpool miniseries, which I got to tell you, like, for complaining about how much stuff there is in the August catalog for Marvel.
Yeah.
There's the new Power Pack One Shot by Louise Simonson, June Brigman, and Guru Hiru. There's the new Future Foundation series that sees Alex and Julie Power as the co-leaders of the team. There's the Gwenpool miniseries. I mean, when we talk about there being too much stuff coming out from a publisher like Marvel, the low-hanging fruit to not publish is all of the stuff I would personally be excited about.
But you don't like David
thanks.
Baldeon.
I do like David Baldeon.
Oh, I specifically remember you...
I don't like Oscar Bazaldua, who's the artist for Mr. and Mrs. X and the upcoming Loki series.
Yeah, I remember you saying bad things about Domino.
No, I don't really. I don't dislike the Domino stuff.
You don't like Jeremy Whitley.
I don't, unfortunately. But that I'm still excited for those characters to get a little bit more of a spotlight.
Did you hear what Leah Williams had to say about Gwenpool?
No.
She had a thread on Twitter saying, hey, don't take that solicitation text as what this book is about. That is nothing what the book is about.
Oh, that's a shame.
Trust me. Don't worry. Gwen sets you all straight immediately on the book.
Sure.
Like, we know why that it says what it says and what they're trying to do with it, but don't buy the book thinking that's what you're getting, because that is not it.
Oh, I wasn't, as a Gwenpool fan, I wasn't nervous about it, but I'm glad that they're excited about the book and have some good plans. I'm disappointed that a writer has to come out and go, hey, Marvel's not advertising this book accurately. Like, that's a shame.
Honestly, I'm not sure if this isn't part of it.
Oh, maybe.
Like, that part of the story is Gwen having to explain why it's not that.
Okay, maybe.
Like, I think that's part of the book. I'm not sure though.
I mean, I'm into it.
But it's also this weird Leah Williams where she capitalizes letters randomly in her.
Oh, is it a clue?
I didn't bother to look that deep.
Okay.
But it was definitely a thread. Well, next time you're on Twitter, just look at it that way.
Yeah, next time I'm on Twitter.
Yeah, you'll do that.
Make a note of it.
You do that.
So yeah, Squirrel Girl's wrapping up. It's a shame. That's a book that I'm still a big fan of after all these years.
Me too.
You have a lot of issues you haven't read.
I think about the Civil War crossovers. Civil War 2.
Like other books that Marvel's done like that, when that goes away for us, I don't know that that's just not lost sales. Like, I don't know that that's...
You can't transition those people to something else.
Yeah, there's not another book I can point to that Marvel's publishing where it's like, sure, Squirrel Girl's gone, but you've got this. Like, not really. And that's a shame because, like we said many times before, those sort of books, Squirrel Girl and Gwenpool and West Coast Avengers and things like that, do well for us. Much better than the average in the industry. So when they get canceled, we kind of get screwed a little bit. Where
sorry. Did you just say that Kelly Thompson's writing the new Squirrel Girl series?
Oh, no.
What? No, I'm okay with that.
I want a higher profile project for Kelly Thompson than that. A lot of her other projects have gotten wrapped up, unfortunately, due to larger editorial shifts.
Okay.
I think we talked about it. She's got, I think, just Captain Marvel. It's pretty much what she's got.
From Marvel, you mean?
As of August.
Okay. I got excited. I thought Boom gave us a full preview of Once and Future. It was only handful of pages with no dialogue.
Cool. My favorite.
Yeah.
Who wants to read the dialogue in a Kieran Gillen comic? Everybody.
Oh, man. So, I know we have somewhere to go, and I'll make this brief, but a series of British writers, but also comic writers, like Neil Gaiman, like Al Ewing, like Kieran Gillen, all got together and issued a statement about how they are anti-Brexit and broke down specifically what it means to publishing and how much money they're going to lose.
Sure.
And how hard it's going to be to get books places because of the way the publishing is set up that way.
Sure.
And how Britain has more writers per capita than anywhere else in the world.
Oh, wow.
Like, they had a lot of interesting statistics. And so they all signed this letter, and it went into the paper. There's one name that was conspicuous or actually, I guess not conspicuous, by their absence, and also had a tweet saying, when are people going to stop using the word crisis and start using the word opportunity? That was Mark Miller.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
Netflix property Mark Miller. Okay.
Big day.
Got it.
Big day for Brexit today. Today is where all of the European MPs are being voted upon. So we'll have to see how that shakes out. But that's a story for a different time. Thanks for listening.
Keep reading comics.
This has been Contest of Challengers. Thanks for listening. Keep reading comics. Challengers is located at 1845 Northwestern Avenue in the Bucktown neighborhood of Chicago. 773-278-0155. Keep up to date with new releases and events at challengerscomics.com. Like Challengers Comics on Facebook, follow @Challengers on Twitter, and help fund this podcast at patreon.com/challengers.